Hello everyone, you're on the road to become a great surgeon, and this is the first stop. That is, you're learning about nutrition. This lecture is about surgical nutrition and metabolism, and I am Dr. Sananur Rahman. In this first section, we'll talk about the basic metabolic principles. Before getting into that, we'll take a look at the body composition, that is, how the human body is made up of, what are its building blocks. Then we'll talk about the body composition changes which occur after trauma and surgery. We'll see what kind of stress the trauma or surgery causes to the body, and then we'll see what changes occur in the building blocks of the body. And finally, we'll see how energy is produced in the body and how it is being managed, how the efficiency is made in the body, and what is the energy currency. So I hope you're excited about today's lecture. Let's get into it and see what happens. So first of all, the bodily composition. Referring to the figure, this is an adult male, this is an adult female. So an adult male has 45% of his muscle mass, an adult female has 36% of muscle mass. This in light orange, this 3% is the essential fat. This is the amount of fat that is required in the body for your organs to stay in place and for the normal functioning of the body. However, the percentage of essential fat in a female, in normal physiological female, is 12%. Now, the non-essential or the storage fat is the fat that is accumulated on the body through diet. And this non-essential fat is usually 12% in a normal physiological male and 15% in a normal physiological female. Now, the bone comprises of 15% of the body in the males and 12% in the females. And finally, we have the other components, the miscellaneous components that comprise of about 25% of the male body and 25% of the female body. These include the substances that are used to held together different cells in the body. These include the collagens, the ground substance, all the substances that help in the making or that act as a framework of the human body. So the human body can be divided into an aqueous portion and a non-aqueous portion. So the aqueous portion, it is about 65% of the human body. The non-aqueous component is slightly less, about 35%. The bone as well as the fat component of the body forms the non-aqueous part. The remaining part is formed by, the aqueous part is formed by the muscles and the miscellaneous components. So the aqueous part, to categorize the aqueous part, we use a term which is known as the total body water. The total body water is a percentage of water in the body. It is somewhat equal to 65% of the body. It is a fixed percentage, be it a lean person or a fat person. In a fat or an obese person, the total body water remains 65%. However, the non-essential storage fat, which is 12% in a normal physiological male, it increases to about whatever percentage depending upon the obesity of the patient. Similarly, the non-essential 15% storage fat in females may increase exponentially, leading to obesity in females. So let's see how this total body water is further subdivided. So referring to the figure again, this is an adult male, a physiological male, which has about 60% water, about 18% protein. Protein is mainly as a part of muscles and the amino acids which are being used to form new muscles in the body. Then we have 16% fat. This 16% fat is divided into 3% essential and the remaining non-essential fat. And finally, we have Minerals and other components, these are about 6% in the body. So, the total body water is the percentage of water present in a normal physiological male. The total body water is about 60% of the body weight, and it is somewhat mathematically, somewhat comes out to be 42 liters. Now, this total body water is divided into extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. The extracellular fluid is the amount, or extracellular fluid is the fluid that is present outside the cells, in between them. This fluid is responsible for lubrication of the cells, for signaling, for transport of materials, for carrying out of the waste. So this extracellular fluid, it performs a variety of functions. So the extracellular fluid comprises about 35% of the total body water. So this is the smaller component of the total body water, and comes out to be about 14 liters out of the 42 liters of the total body water. Then we have the intracellular fluid. Intracellular fluid, as the name indicates, is present within the cell. Now this fluid, since it's present within the cell, it is responsible for a variety of functions, but all the functions that happen within the cell. These can be secretory functions from this one cellular element to the other cellular element. Intracellular secretory function can be intracellular excretion, it can be intracellular signaling. So within the cell, whatever function is taking place takes place through this intracellular fluid. Now this intracellular fluid, it comprises about 65% of the total body water. So it is the larger component of the body water, and this is 65%, which comes out to be about 28 liters of the 42 liters of the total body water. Now, the extracellular fluid, which was present outside the cells, is further subdivided into two parts. There are two components, or the two subdivisions of this extracellular fluid. So let's see what these are. These are the plasma fluid, which is 7%, which is present as a part of the circulating blood. This is about 7% of the total body water, and it comes out to be about 3 liters of the 14 liters of the extracellular fluid. Now we have the interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid is present within the interstitium of the cells, and it is about 28%. That is the bigger portion of the total body water. So it comes out to be about 11 liter. So these are the subdivisions of the total body water. Recapping them, total body water is the percentage of water that is present in the body. It comes out to be about 42 liters and is approximately 60% of the body weight. The percentage is fixed, be it a lean or an obese person. Now this total body water is divided into two parts or two components. These are the extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. Now the extracellular fluid is present outside the cells. It comprises of about 35% of the total body water and is about 14 liters. The intracellular fluid makes up 65% of the total body water, and this is about 28 liters. The extracellular fluid is divided into plasma fluid that is present in the blood. This is about 3 liters. And then interstitial fluid, which is present in the interstitium of the cells. This is about 28% of the total body water and 11 liters. So moving on. Now this graph, it compares body composition as a function of age and gender. Now on the x-axis we have age of the patients. So we have two groups. First group is females from 20 to 29 years of age. The second group is females from 70 to 79 years of age. Then again on the x-axis we have males from 20 to 29 years of age and males from 70 to 79 years of age. Now on the y-axis we have the body weight in kilograms. Now each bar has three sections. The first section, the topmost section is in blue, is the fat mass. In dark green we have the extracellular mass, and we have in light green we have the body cell mass. So now let's take a look on this bar of females of 29 to 29 years. So females between 20 to 29 years of age have this is the fat mass. They have this is the they have about they are about 60 kilograms in weight, and their bodily weight has been subdivided. Here you can see this blue figure. It's about 15 kilogram of fat mass. Then we have this is about 35 kilogram of extracellular mass, and finally we have this is somewhat 18 kilogram of body cell mass. Now when these females they attain age, they age and they become 70 to 79 years of age, or when we compare them to females of 70 to 79 years of age, we see there's an increase in the fat mass in the body. Here you can see there's slight increase in the fat mass of the body. Now there's decrease in the extracellular mass of the body as well. So the fat mass is increasing, the extracellular mass is decreasing, as well as the body cell mass, it also decreases. Now we can find a similar relation in the males when we compare males between 20 to 29 years of age and 70 to 79 years of age. When the age of the males increased, we saw the fat mass, it increased. But in males, the increase in fat mass is greater as compared to the females. Now, we also saw in females, we saw there was a decrease in extracellular mass, but in males, we do not see a greater decrease. Here we can see it is somewhat similar. There is slight decrease, but not that much. And the body cell mass, it somewhat remains the same. So two of the factors, they are changing in females, the factor being the fat mass as well as the extracellular mass. However, in males, only the fat mass increases. The extracellular mass, it decreases somewhat, but there is not a prominent change. And the body cell mass, it almost does not change. However, since the fat mass changes, the lean body mass also varies, and there is a change from a lean person to a slightly obese person. So this change in this graph here represents a change in the body composition as there is change, or there is increase or advancing age. This happens and the fat mass of the body increases. Now, how to measure the fat mass of the body? So there are various measures to measure the fat mass of the body, or in generally the health of the body. There are various indices being used, but the most commonly used indices to measure the nutritional status of the body is the body mass index. So what is body mass index? Body mass index helps to determine the ratio of fat present in the body. The formula of which you already know. So the body mass index is an index that helps to determine the health of the patient and the amount of fat in the patient. And the value of the body mass index can be interpreted in terms of being underweight, normal, overweight, and obese. So a value less than 18.5 is termed as underweight. Here you can see in the figure, this is underweight. Now a value between 18.5 and 24.9 is called normal. This is the normal category. I'll recap the Formula for body mass index. The body mass index, BMI, equals weight in kg divided by height in meters square. So you take the patient's weight in kilograms and divide it by the square of the height of the patient, but the height should be in meters. So when you do that, there comes out to be a figure, and this is the figure we're talking about, the interpretation of this reading. So if the figure comes out to be less than 18.5, this is known as an underweight individual. A figure between 18.5 and 24.9 is a normal individual. Now between 25 and 29.9, we have an overweight individual. Now, moving to 30 to 34.9, we have an obese individual, and more than 35 is extremely obese. There are categories of obesity as well that would be taken up separately. Now, what is the body composition after trauma or the major surgery? Let's see what changes occur. So there's rapid loss of the lean body mass. So why does that happen? Surgery comes as a stressor. Trauma comes as a stressor. Now, when a stressor comes to the body has to utilize its energy. The glucose which is stored in the body, there's a limited store of glucose that is usually expired within 24 hours of a trauma or surgery. After that, the energy production moves on to the fats as well as the proteins. Now, from where does the body get these proteins? These proteins are the proteins that make up the body, the proteins in the muscles of the body. Now, if a person has a store of fat, then the fats would be used. But using fats for energy is more difficult, and it's not an easy process. At the same time, the body requires energy, so it would be utilizing fats for energy as well as the proteins for energy. Now, the proteins will come from the muscles which are making up the body, and when these muscles will be used up, there would be rapid loss of the lean body mass. Now, there is expansion of the extracellular fluid compartment. Now, the metabolism of fats as well as the metabolism of proteins produces vasoactive elements. These vasoactive elements are responsible, they're osmotically active elements. They're responsible for retaining fluid in the body. So instead of fluid being released out of the body through urine, the fluid is retained or reabsorbed from the urine, and there is expansion of the extracellular fluid, and we see edema around the site of the trauma or the major surgery. Now, there are changes in the cell masses and fat masses. These changes in the cell masses and the fat masses are difficult to recognize. We don't have a marker or a procedure to recognize these changes. The changes are actually taking place. We can see we know they are happening because there are biochemical shifts in the body, but you cannot actually recognize these changes happening in the human body. That is because these changes are happening very rapidly, and you cannot measure or categorize them. They manifest as temporal or extremity wasting. So when the fats are being used, the glucose stores are being depleted, the proteins are being used, this will manifest itself as wasting of the body. So you'll see the temporal or the extremity wasting, and that will be a telltale sign that yes, the body composition is shifting after the trauma or the major surgery. Now the body is using itself to make more energy, to retain energy, for the energy that is required for the running, for the working of the body. Now, There are various tools to assess these changes in body composition during critical illness. Now, these tools are only used in the critically ill patients. So, the patients would be who would be present in a high dependency unit, who would be present in critical care. These tools would be used only in these patients, and even in those patients, a selected few of these assessment changes would be used, because we know this is happening. This is something that happens this is something that happens after the surgery, because this is the physiological response of the body. We know that will happen, and we preemptively start treating for it or start looking for it. So it does not usually require these assessment markers, these assessment methods or assessment tools. However, sometimes these assessment tools are used. Mind you, these tools are difficult to use, difficult to interpret, and they're not very commonly used. Sometimes they're used. These tools include the arm circumference. That is, you measure the circumference of the arm. You keep on measuring it serially and compare it every day and see if there is wasting of the muscles of the arm. And then there's tissue bioelectrical impedance test. Again, a complicated procedure, not commonly used, but can be used for this assessment. Now, how is the energy produced and how is it measured? So, during the periods of starvation or immediately after surgery, the body oxidizes stored fuels to generate energy. So that is a fact, actually. So your patient has undergone surgery. Now, since your patient has undergone surgery, your patient is NPO, that is nil per oral. So the patient is not taking anything. Since the patient is not taking anything, so now the body is under starvation. So the body assumes there's no food for more than 8 hours. The body turns the starvation mode on. Now, in the starvation mode, the body is now oxidizing the fuels that are present within the body. The glucose that is present within the body is being utilized to produce energy. Now, energy from food is generated in the form of heat as well. All the energy is not utilized, all right? The production of energy is not very efficient in the human body. So only sometimes there are different figures, but some say only 33% of the energy is actually utilized by the body. The rest is dissipated as heat. So energy from the food is dissipated as heat. There is energy from oxidations of fuel as well. Now, what happens? The fuel. What is the fuel in the body? For the first 24 hours, it is the glucose that is mainly stored within the liver. Then after 24 hours, there's metabolism of lipids, there's metabolism of proteins, there is gluconeogenesis, there's lipogenesis. We'll see what all these things are. Now, there are a variety of fuels. All these fuels, they require oxygen, that is, they undergo oxidation. As a result of oxidation, they produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct. So this is actually like an engine. The body works like an engine, like a combustion engine. It uses fuel, be it glucose, that is the carbohydrates, the proteins, or the fats. These are the three sources of fuel. These fuels are oxidized to produce. Are oxidized. The side product of the oxidation of fuel of this fuel is carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is excreted through the mouth, through the nasal cavity. Now, this is the main product, the ATP. Now, ATP is the energy currency in the body. So what is ATP? ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So this triphosphate, tri means 3. So adenosine has 3 phosphates attached to it. The bond between these phosphates is a high energy bond, and this bond is readily broken down to produce energy throughout the body. So this ATP is broken down to perform any amount of work that is required in the body, and breaking down of this ATP, some of the energy is used to perform this work while the rest is released as heat. Now the oxidation of the fuels also generates heat. The heat that is produced in the body is used to maintain the core temperature of the body under the control of hypothalamus. At the same time, if a nitrogenous fuel was used, that is, if proteins are used, proteins also secrete urea as a byproduct. So proteins secrete nitrogenous compounds as byproducts, which are converted to urea and are secreted by the urine from the body, and water is produced as a byproduct of this reaction. So the energy that is produced in the body, that is ATP, the international units of energies are joules. However, joule is a very small amount of energy, so we use megajoules. And in terms of foods, the energy currency, the unit of energy that is used is calories. Again, calories is a small unit, so we use kilogram calories, that is the amount of calories that is released per kilogram of a substance. So let's see what are the various body fuels and how do they provide food, what is the energy that they provide and what are their sources. So the major source of energy is the carbohydrate. It is the most commonly used fuel. We all know that. It provides 45 to 65% to 60% of the daily energy requirements. Each gram yields approximately about 4 kilocalories. So 1 gram of carbohydrate gives off 4 kilocalories. And this is the most abundant energy, that is the most abundant fuel that is used for the human consumption. Then we have lipids. Lipids are the second most commonly used fuel in the human body. They provide about 35 to 45% of the daily caloric intake. So about 35 to 45% of your food is lipids. Each gram of fat yields approximately 9 kilocalories of energy. So the amount of energy being delivered by the lipids is twice as that of the carbohydrates. Now, moving on, we have proteins and polypeptides. These are the third component of the food. They yield about 4 kilocalories per gram. The amount of energy yielded is the same as that of the carbohydrates. Now, other nutrients that are important for the nutrition of the body, these includes the nucleotides, the vitamins, and the trace elements. These the nucleotides are responsible for the building. They act as building blocks of the DNA. Then vitamins are required in small amounts for the normal functioning of the body because they act as coenzymes and help in various reactions throughout the body. And then finally we have trace elements. Trace elements help in the formation of various reactions in the body. They act as enzymes, coenzymes, facilitators, and help in the normal function of the body. So a balanced diet is what is required for a healthy nutrition. Your balanced diet must have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and these other nutrients. Now, the carbohydrates are the most commonly used fuel. The second most commonly used fuel are the lipids. And finally, we have the proteins. So this was all about this section. In this section, we talked a lot about the nutrition of the patient. I hope you understood and liked this section. For further such sections, keep watching sqadia.com.